All of the civilizations that lived on Earth left something behind. This film is primarily intended for leaders of East Asian philosophical and religious schools. But essentially it's intended for anyone who knows how to use their brain for its intended purpose. Later, we will demonstrate how elementary physical wave processes can result in sacred symbols like the swastika, the yin and yang, and the spider effect. 12,000 years ago, it would have been something like this. The day would have started normally, but the inhabitants would have had no idea of what was about to happen. Something's wrong. What's going on? Nobody knows! Drop it! Let's go! A huge asteroid appears out of nowhere, as if someone had teleported it from another dimension. The asteroid slightly brushes the Earth, but it's enough to change its rotation speed significantly. The Earth shudders, its surfaces swell, giant tsunamis form, volcanoes come to life. In the blink of an eye, cities turn into ruins, while a mixture of water and ash eclipses the sun. Their familiar world ceases to exist as hell comes down to Earth. There was no panic, because most of the people died instantly, and those who didn't wandered in confusion wondering what had happened. It was clear to everybody, though. Their old way of life was gone. Part 1. Apocalypse. The almost completely destroyed shelter of the planet's control center flashes its emergency lights. The head of the center is seriously injured, and the remaining researchers surround him. They try to help, but the commander realizes that he's breathing his last breaths while his civilization does the same. Everyone understands this and listens to him carefully. Few will survive, and the basics of knowledge will be forgotten. History teaches us this. But keep this knowledge in symbols and signs. Give them a divine meaning. Draw them everywhere and tell everyone about them. Make people believe. Convince them. This is the only way to send information about our knowledge to the future. There is no other way. And another thing. Judging by the destruction, it won't be possible to restore the previous world. But millennia will pass, and civilization will be reborn, and somebody will come who will reveal the essence of the symbols and fill them with a physical meaning, and they will teach the people what we knew and what we were able to do. Yes, we didn't manage to make the world the way we wanted it to be. Perhaps they'll succeed. It's been 12,000 years. People really have forgotten the origins and the true meanings of the signs and symbols. In fact, they've defied these symbols by attributing to them a sacred holiness which could only be granted by creatures from another world. Yes, okay, fine, creatures from another world. But the most important thing is that the letter from our predecessors reached us almost intact. The true meaning has been lost, but the symbol has been preserved in American Indian legends and in Indian mythology. These symbols have survived to our time and are filled with philosophical and religious meaning. Many modern scientists believe that the sacred symbols have no scientific background, but are based on primitive philosophical fantasies and religious fanaticism. In a similar way, there are representatives of the most ancient philosophical and religious schools, Taoism, Hinduism, Confucianism, and Buddhism, which declare that sacred symbols are the embodiment of the highest being, the source energy, Godhead, the Logos, and so on. But they do not answer specific questions about their physical content. That is, how did these symbols appear? Where from? And resulting from what? Or maybe there is no answer because not enough people are asking the questions. But now that the question has been asked, then the task before us is to show in a clear way that the sacred symbols are unique, but only natural phenomenon that arise, and this is important, as a result of elementary physical wave processes underlying the manifest universe. Is this true? Let's figure it out. It's the 21st century. Physics lesson. Crash course. In nature, everything fluctuates, and there is nothing but the source of vibrations, a fluid medium which propagates the wave, and the wave itself. The waves diverge and intersect, and the wave amplitudes add up and create amazingly beautiful images called interference patterns. In these patterns, there are maxima and minima of wave energy, as well as lines with zero amplitude. In nature, this image can easily be seen when two identical stones are thrown into water. For the study of these wave phenomenon, a tool in the form of a software program was created, and it's based on Euclidean geometry. We will use this program to demonstrate the processes that result in simple and uniquely complex energy formations. Interference from two sources. The minimum condition for interference in between two wave sources is the presence of a wave medium and at least two oscillators. If the oscillators vibrate in phase, then the interference pattern will look like this. If the oscillators move towards each other, the interference pattern will change. But what happens if there's a frequency difference between the oscillators? We see an interference pattern which resembles a spider. This is called the spider effect. The image also resembles Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. For this reason, we can also call it the Trimurti effect. The meaning of this symbol was lost on the way from the past, but the value of the Trimurti effect remains enormous. It points to the parameters which could be controlled in order to create, balance, or destroy. An analysis of this effect has allowed us to understand how to create two things: propulsive devices that are nothing like a rocket, and a fundamentally different type of energy source. But this is a separate and lengthy topic. As the number of sources increases, the pattern of interference becomes more complex. Sources can be placed either randomly or in a particular order, for example, in a circle. Let's consider a standard situation. We have 12 sources vibrating at the same frequency. Let's see how the wave field is formed and what happens to it. We see harmony and order. If we change the diameter of the source system, then there is a situation in which the waves radiated out appear to lose their energy. But this is not what's happening. The energy doesn't go anywhere, but passes from the manifest state to the unmanifest. This indicates the ability of a system to be practically non-radiating. Note that the non-manifest state is just as real as the manifest state. The program allows the user to assign individual parameters to different sources. Let's take advantage of this and arrange a phase shift of 30 degrees in a circle between the sources. We have pre-selected a diameter that will result in the desired interference effect, and one of the sacred symbols will appear. This is the Yin and Yang symbol. If the phase shift within a circle is increased to, for example, 60 degrees with a correspondingly adjusted diameter, the result of the interference is the swastika. Note that the swastika symbol is inside the source system. A phase shift of 120 degrees leads to the kolovrat, the double swastika. Such a swastika is external because its rays are outside of the oscillator system. To obtain the yin-yang effect, it's necessary to observe that the ratio between the doubled wavelength of the sources and the diameter of the circle on which the sources are located is 1.618. For the swastika, 1.618 is the ratio of the diameter of the source system to the length of the wave emitted by the sources. That is, for both yin-yang and the swastika, there is a golden ratio. This is sometimes called the ratio of divine harmony. Coincidence or not, it's up to you. A few words about the program Wave Calculator. This film shows only a small portion of its possibilities. No one has seen, for example, this effect, which represents the interference of waves in a pure and simple form. The effect was named Sansara wheel. The program is an ideal tool for visualization, study, and research of wave phenomenon in isotropic environments. And for this reason, the program's main purpose is educational. You can download the demo version of the program for free at the link below.